was going to say, what's been happening in the group chats, girls?
Well,
there's a few bits happening this week.
I wanted to segue possibly from that into... Did you hear about the in Texas?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Wild.
Right, let me take a sip.
Yeah,
Take a sip.
that is definitely a sip.
Men policing women's bodies.
It's The Handmaid's Tale. I don't know if you watch it, but it's The Handmaid's Tale.
So do you want to... So go on, you explain it again. Because I know you want...
The Handmaid's Tale is an amazing drama. It's on Channel 4. I think it's a Hulu production.
I love that. I said, do you want to explain? We could explain Handmaid's Tale, but I was going to say explain about the issue in Texas. But let's go
I
to
thought you were going to talk
bit.
about the issue in Texas.
Well, I feel like you're... I'm using and abusing you.
Okay,
today.
fine. They've just passed legislation in Texas that says it's making it illegal for you to have an abortion after 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Now, the reason why that is absolutely wild, well, there's so many reasons, I don't even know where to begin, but one of the reasons why that's absolutely wild is that in so many instances you won't even know you're pregnant at 6 weeks.
Why?
You won't even know you're pregnant. Really, unless you are actively trying to get pregnant, you could easily not know that you're pregnant at 6 weeks. Right?
Yes.
So now I don't know that I'm pregnant.
Yes.
And now I'm past the time when I can make a decision as to what's right for me, my circumstances, my family, my everything, right? But you're now saying to me, it's too late now.
I think it's crazy.
But also, what I really struggle with, why do you want to force someone who maybe isn't ready in a relationship perspective, financially, mentally, any of those things? Why would you want to force that person to have a baby? Why?
Is it a religious thing over there?
Well, I guess with Texas is part of what they call like the Bible Belt in America, right? So they are, quite a red state, so Republican state, so akin to, I guess, conservatives here. And so, the Bible's everything, but equally...
We're in 2021 over
here. And there's a lot of, I grew up kind of, religious, I went to church and all the rest of it, went to church school. And actually, a lot of the Old Testament is like fire and brimstone, death and punishment. The New Testament isn't like that. The New Testament is very much like, all right, shit. People make mistakes.
Yeah.
All right?
Pro-human rights.
Jesus washed the prostitute's feet. So it's like...
Okay.
We've
moved on.
Because forcing people to do things that they aren't ready for, aren't willing to, however you want to break it down, what is the outcome of that? What happens to that kid?
Yes.
What happens to that mother?
Yeah. This is
right? What happens?
It's like they're not thinking about that. I just don't understand. Because I was having a conversation with someone and I was saying, you're going to have these parents that, their whole thing is that I can't afford another child.
I can't afford another child.
But then I think I'm pretty sure I heard something about they don't even want to look after your child. So now you've got to go to the state to get money, but they don't want to help you. So the next thing is they're taking your whole child away. But they don't want to look after your child.
Then we've got another kid in the system.
And it's mostly black people that would be affected.
Anyway, or probably black and Hispanics. Because, a lot of it with the decision to have a baby is based on money, right?
Right.
Rightly or wrongly, people look at their situation, they look at their circumstance and say, can I afford to do this?
And if sensible people would.
Well, because, look, for me, I know that I've wanted to be a mum for, forever. Mm-hmm. And, you make certain decisions in your life because
based on that thought process.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so now, even though it swings and roundabouts, right? Because I feel like genuinely a baby is... Well, there's a saying, the baby's always a blessing, but it's only a blessing if you view it as a blessing, right? Because knowing how hard it is, don't get me wrong, it's one of the most amazing experiences that you'll ever go through. But also it's one of the most challenging, it's one of the toughest, you are operating sometimes on 2-3 hours sleep and you've got to be up that next day and giving your child everything and keeping that kid alive, right? Because that kid isn't going to you, oh, all right, mummy, you haven't really slept, so I'm going to give you a break. Or, mummy, like, now, going out and having a hangover, I'm literally like, I don't want it. Like, seriously, it's just not even worth it. But you have to get up and give your all to that kid. And where's the state when, you know, you've only had 2 hours sleep or you're figuring out how you can, I don't know, make $10 stretch to feed yourself and your kid, or yourself and your other children. Like where are they stepping into any of that? So I think it's an absolute it's insane. And to say that is happening in 2021 is bonkers.
It's like I feel like it can't stick. I was reading an article and there was a lady who was obviously challenging challenging it. And of course, then we haven't even spoke about the fact of, you know, the chances of a child being conceived through rape. Or
that's a whole
incest,
level, or any kind of abuse.
You know, which.
Or just, you know what, the just not being fucking ready. I'm not ready.
That, of course, which we've just spoke about, but in the, you know, also with that.
Yeah. Because I guess there will always be instances where, you know, people do decide that they want to have, even out of those awful situations, but you must have a choice.
A choice.
You have to have a choice.
It's choice.
Yeah. So that's what basically this woman was saying, you know. What about when the child's, you know, conceived through that in that?
Because think about what that does to mental health of, if you really don't want to have that kid, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, for whatever reason now, because you can't just take yourself off to another state to get it done, like whatever, right?
Yeah.
You're now having this baby. Like, you're only human, so to think that you might look at this baby every day
and remind yourself,
like,
to be reminded. Yeah. Is it Greg Abbott? He's the governor, basically, who's passed this law. Greg Abbott, his name is.
Of course he is.
And
this
woman,
wherever
her name is, let me find it. She basically said about, you know, about the rape and incest, and he actually turned around and said, well, women have time, like we've just said, to get an abortion if that was the instance, but of course, like you've just said, you've got 6 weeks. And then he said, well, what the next challenge for us is to eradicate rapists in Texas.
Eradicate rapists, eradicate
because it's not always
in the family, sleeping with their
exactly
children,
nephews, right? Because that's what I was thinking. It's not always the man on the road that's dragging you into the alleyway.
And quite often, I think actually, when women are attacked, it's by someone that they know, not necessarily family, but someone that they know, right?
Someone that they know, yeah.
So how are we? How?
Greg.
And also, if you've not
Greg, dickhead.
Really, Greg, punk.
Greg.
If you've not been able to eradicate it up to this point and it's been going on for however since probably the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Because it all goes back to the same thing though, right? It's men and their chauvinistic, entitled way of looking at life and looking at women, right? So your thing is to start with the women. Don't start with the rapists, even though whole thing is ridiculous anyway. But we'll start with we'll punish the women first, and then we'll get round to the men. Oh, those naughty men. Yeah, we'll get round to them. It's like, Greg, get a clue.
Yeah.
Greg's got to get it. It can't
like in hell, the fiery depths of hell.
Who's that woman who does the all of the press conferences at the White House with the red hair? She's very long and strong. She does all the press conferences. She's very. What's her name? More
so because I don't really watch the news and stuff.
Right, okay, yeah. She's not having it either. What's her name? Oh, here we go, found it, sorry. Jen Psaki.
Okay.
Jen Psaki, you know this one?
Oh yeah, I've recognised her.
She's not having a bar of it. So, you know, I don't know how long it's going to be able to stick.
But the problem is remember in the States is that
different,
and that's the problem, federal law.
I understand
so they can pass federal law. So I don't know how it gets like rolled up. Like I'm not kind of, you know, that familiar with
the way it works
over
the
there.
Way it works,
but because each state can pass their own laws,
right. How
it's like so Texas can
But I'm guessing Washington, the White House, they have to... That's true, because I'm thinking it's not like ours where everything goes to the government.
It's like it's essential kind of, yeah.
It goes to Parliament and then it's passed. Whereas there, I don't know, but all I can say is, you know...
I honestly, reading that, and your heart just sinks,
absolutely,
really.
Because then I was speaking to someone, actually, and they were saying, well, they'll just have to leave that state and go somewhere else.
Money.
They got money for that shit.
Money. And again, that's why what you were saying, Danny, in terms of who will be affected, disproportionately, it will be people who are, you know, in the lower socio-economic classes, which would be Black and Hispanics.
Yeah. And now the problem that we have is that people are going to go to the black market.
And imagine in 2021 that you would have to go into some dirty little room
and have tools
do you know what I mean? Like, imagine, like, in 2021.
That's what's going to happen. Well. And people, we're going to have deaths on this. There'll be deaths on this, unfortunately.
And then there'll be prison sentences for people who are performing the black
which
the
is
black
family members, because you know this is happening.
Yeah.
And it'll be auntie who wanted to help.
Or it's just women going, let me swallow a bottle of pills and you know, drink a whole bottle of gin. Like it will.
So what do we do about this, women, ladies?
Well, look, and not obviously to make it about, you know, everything has to come back to Black Lives Matter, but as with Black Lives Matter, where you have to get everyone on the same page. It's not just about black people standing up going, oh my God, Black Lives Matter, but everyone's saying Black Lives Matter. Men need to get involved in this conversation, right? And be like, listen,
this ain't okay.
This is not okay. Everyone needs to get involved in this conversation. That's what needs to happen. Because unfortunately, if it's just women,
it's just,
here they go. All right. They're rattling on about something. What's that? Can't hear you over the washing up, mate. Do you know what I mean? That's how these people like Greg clearly view us as a lesser sex. And what you need is men who can come up and say, look, no, I don't want my daughter having to go off and have some kind of illegal abortion, or feeling like she's forced into having a baby when she's not ready, or my wife, you know, we've already got 4 kids and, you know, we're looking at this situation, we don't know how we're going to be able to make this work. It's men need to stand up in solidarity with women and say, this is not okay, we're not for this. That's the only way. If it's just us women, it's the same with, again, Black Lives Matter. When it's just black people going, look at what you're doing to us, help us. It's like,
but as soon as someone outside stands up, then people want to listen.
Well, it has to be a human issue, right? Not just a race issue or a sex issue. It has to be a human issue. That's what it has to be.
Okay, so everybody, look into it if you haven't heard about it, if you haven't seen it. To be fair, I don't think there's been a huge amount of publicity about it, if I'm honest. There hasn't, has there? So
well, definitely over here.
There hasn't. So I was in America when I saw it on CNN, and obviously Ellie sent it to me and stuff. So, I think we're definitely keeping a little bit too quiet, and I'm definitely up for, you know, anything that I can do to support that, you know. So, yes. Alrighty. What else we got?
A little heavy, but I think it's one of those things.
We had to definitely talk about that, and you know, I definitely wanted to hear your thoughts on it as well.